This is a recipe for super easy artisan bread, and it tastes so delicious that you would really think it would require more time or effort, but it doesn't. And so we'll just get started. It's very basic ingredients, just flour, some yeast, some salt, and then we stir that together. And after it's all stirred together so we don't have clumps of salt or yeast, we're going to add the water. This is warm water so that the yeast doesn't get killed, and it's not too cold so that the yeast won't work. So just nice warm water, and then we're stirring it together until the flour mixture turns into a shaggy lump. Once we get that shaggy lump, we are going to cover the dough with plastic, and we're going to let it rise for about 18 to 20 hours. It's a long rise time, so I like to do this the night before and then let it rise overnight. That way it's off my mind and out of the way. About an hour and 45 minutes before you're ready to eat your bread, you'll want to heat the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a very hot oven. And once the oven is heated, you're going to put in some glass dishes that the bread will bake in. A crock pot works, a Dutch oven, a cast iron pan, something that has a lid, or if it doesn't have a lid, make a lid out of tin foil. Then you put those dishes in the oven for half an hour to heat up, and meanwhile, you flour a surface, and this dough is very, very sticky, so we're going to pour it out onto a well-floured surface. And then we're going to shape the dough into loaves. And for this recipe, this is a double recipe, so I'm shaping it into 2 for our family of 11. Okay, and then with flour on the hands, because like I said, the dough is very, very sticky, we're just going to work that into a loaf shape to fit the pan that we're going to be cooking it in. Once we have the loaf shape, we're going to put it onto parchment paper. This makes it a lot easier to transfer into the hot pan that will be coming out of the oven before we bake the bread. So now we'll take the hot pans out of the oven and we will transfer the bread into the pans very, very, very carefully so you don't burn your fingers. Those dishes are 450 degrees. So we'll just put the bread in and we'll cover it back up with the lid, and then it goes into the oven. The bread will bake in the oven for about a half an hour, and then at that point we'll need to take the lid off. The bread will have cooked a lot of the way inside. The lid traps steam inside, so it kind of steams the bread and cooks it that way. Now we'll remove the lid and cook the bread for another 15 minutes so that it gets a nice golden brown crust, and it should be cracked at this point as well. So now that it's cooked another 15 minutes, we'll just go ahead and take it out of the pan. Again, being very careful, those pans are so hot. We'll transfer it onto a board, and we're going to let it cool for about 15 minutes. And you can see this bread has an extremely nice crust. Just listen to it. And now we'll let the bread sit for about 15 minutes and then cut into it. And as you can see, it's developed a very nice crumb structure that has to do with the rising and then just letting it sit on the parchment paper while it's prepared to bake. And once the bread is sliced, you can eat it with soup or eat it with just butter. Use it for sandwiches. Anything you like is just super delicious. And it's not that much work either.